a system of any kind, then you're starting from.
That's right.
We have different problems we have to address marketing wise. Like
That's right.
we should start by getting you a system
That's
to
right.
funnel people in.
Get a speaker, so get a speaker and a mini amp, right? And
the thing is, it's like when you talk about this particular guy, it's interesting to me in that there's something needs tweaked somewhere. That's all it is. Like clearly, the funnel works on getting some people. We just have to get the right people. So what is the thing that we have to put up front there? You know, you call it a lead magnet in a lot of ways. What is the thing that's going to draw people into your world that will translate into? Now, I think he actually probably had a better thing than he thought. 100,000 people following him on Instagram, and if they drop off, well, that's good, because you don't want to be pitching things constantly to people who aren't interested. It's the people who stick around that you got to just find that right offer for. Now, it's also, you could be said, like, you have an audience. Do you want to change your pitch and change what you're offering them to match the audience, as opposed to, and maybe that's getting a little too out of the realm of, are we artists or are we, we creating commercial entities, things like that.
Right. I mean, artists or rip off artistes. Yeah.
Like at the end of the day, like people are like, I don't want to speak ill of anyone who makes a choice that, commerce is how we put things on the table, so perhaps in some ways it's better to chase commerce. I've always joked that if Britney Spears came and asked me to play spoons in Britney Spears' band, I'm absolutely going to do it. I'd want to drill my teeth out the whole time I'm doing it, but with all that money I make doing that, I could absolutely go build my own studio and make all the art that I want to make for me, and no one else ever even has to see it if I don't want to. So, what's where does commercialism step into, the art, and how much can you take and stomach as an artist, that kind of thing. Like, that's why even in music, I've always considered myself more of a performer than perhaps a writer. Not that I don't write, but it's like, I really enjoy the element of performing. So even if you give me somebody else's stuff, I'm going to have a blast bringing it to life. But when it comes to people that are, just writers, there is certainly a difference of opinion in that world usually. Well, I'm curious if there's anything else you'd like to get out to the audience. Certainly tell them the Kickstarter where we can send them to for that.
Great, thanks. Yeah, I can tell you a few things that did work too. I mean, it's not all doom and gloom. It's not all doom and gloom. I think one of the best things that we did for Rex Mundi is we were religious about this. We were ultra hyper scrupulous about this. We did a web comic. And this is back in like 2000. The web comics are very different now, obviously, but we were basically syndicated. I don't know what you want to call it, but we were on like 10 different web comic sites. And every Friday we'd put up a new one. We spent like 2 years doing this. I mean, we spent a huge amount of time doing this. And, it was a free web comic, and it was great. Every week it was called Brother Matthew. It was kind of like a spin-off. We did like a Rex Mundi spin-off before Brother Matthew had a little cameo in Rex Mundi. But every week it was great because we had something to talk about. And it wasn't really spam. It was just, I put a webcomic out. I'm not charging you for it, so you can't really call it spam. I just want you to read it. I just want you to, like, what did you call it? A lead in or
lead magnet.
A lead magnet. That's exactly what it was. It was a lead magnet for us. And it worked really, really well for us with Rex Mundi. Sorry, please.
Well, no, it's actually funny. This is something I wanted to bring up that I've heard it a couple times this week where someone's like, oh, well, I'm not in that cycle, in the marketing part of my cycle. And I personally think that it's a mistake for anyone who's creating to look at, because if you're waiting until like you're done with the book to worry about marketing, you've already lost. Like, there was plenty of time for you to be building your network, building your audience before the thing was ever even done. And if people go a year, 2 years, 3 years, even 6 months without hearing from you in some form or fashion, you don't exist in their world anymore. There's just too much crap to fill it up with. That's why, email marketing and sending regular emails, I think, is super important. But that's why a lot of these creators are going the webcomic route, because sure, I can get you hooked where I'm constantly, you get that steady drip of content. You build it's why It's one of the things that was lost in the comic book industry was, Wednesday, going and picking up your pull box. When that stopped being a thing that people did, well, they lost the habit. So, one of the things I hear is becoming, the norm is that you put out these webcomics, and it's building that habit again in people in the digital realm. And yeah, you're not going to get everyone to go and buy your comic, but the people that really love it will. And you're getting a better qualified lead at that point. You're getting someone who just is a diehard. You don't have to sell at that point. Like they're there. They want more of what you have. So, and it's just interesting to me, and that like the stuff that like seems so obvious. I think that it's like, oh well, why am I making all this stuff for free? And it's like, well, you're doing it because no one knows who you are, and at least put it someplace where people are looking for comics.
That's right. Yeah, exactly right. So that was 2 years of our life. We pretty much did nothing. It was we put a lot of effort into it. So that was 2 years. Pretty much that's all we did was do that webcomic like for free. But the payoff was, I will never forget it. One of the happiest moments in my life. I was living in New York City, and Rex Mundi had just come out, and Image, they originally published it kind of on a let's see how this goes basis. Like, yeah, if sales are strong, we'll make it an ongoing series, but no promises. So it was like 2 a.m. I was just coming out of the Rocky Horror Picture Show, kind of in like Greenwich Village in New York City. And The Forbidden Planet's a great comic book, one of the great comic book stores. It was open, of course. So I went in to check on Rex Mundi, see what I was doing, and I couldn't find it. I was just like, what? Because I talked to Jeff, the buyer there. Like, I said, hey, I'm Arvid. I got a comic, blah, blah, blah. So Jeff was there. I was just like, Jeff, what happened? I thought you were gonna carry Rex Mundi. I don't see it. And he said, yeah, I can't get any copies of it. And I said, what do you mean you can't? I was just, oh my God, there was a mistake. Like, there's a problem at the warehouse. Was it all turned into toilet paper? What happened? He said, no, Arvid, you don't understand. I can't get any more copies. It's sold out. It's sold out, Arvid. Congratulations.
Success problems.
Right, exactly. I was just like, I was doing like, clicking my heels like a leprechaun on the way back home. So it was worth it. I mean, it was worth it. That's the point I'm trying to make. It was, I firmly believe that it was that webcomic that led to that success. So, yeah, just like you said, yeah, you have to do it for free.
Well, keep it's a way to keep front and center in the consciousness of people. I mean, there's also certain like elements of, if you do something for somebody, then they feel like they owe you. So you give away enough free stuff, eventually, like that's what is it? What's the Hare Krishnas? That's why they hand out flowers at airports.
Stories. That's right, because the norm of reciprocity. Yeah.
Yep. And you feel like you have to do something to level the cosmic equation.
No, it's very powerful. It's cross-cultural too. Like Africa, Asia, Europe, South America, doesn't matter. It's very, very powerful human instinct. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm curious, is something else that you think you feel real strongly is, had worked for you in the past as far as marketing goes?
Yeah, a few other things have worked here. I had a list up. What are some of the other things? Being published at Image Comics was great. Brand name recognition matters. We got a lot more attention from journalists. This is back. Comics journalism is just, oh my God. It is such an SHIT show now. It's all completely colonized by social justice. But it's so sad, these sites that I used to a lot of sites that really supported me now, that probably wouldn't talk to me anymore. But at any rate, I'm just sort of fetching now. Being able to say, hey, I'm Arvid and I have a comic coming out from Image is very different from, hey, I'm Arvid and I have a comic. Those are two very, very different statements.
Well, I mean, if I were to hear, hi, I'm Arvid and I have a comic coming out from Image now, I'm going to have to go, oof.
Right. No, right. Hey.
So, is that worth reading, do I think? I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, as Image is still doing great stuff, of course, too. But
yeah, I joke because most of my pull list is still Image comics, but
no, but I'm with you, Nick. Some of that stuff is just like, I'm with you. I know it's sad, but isn't that just what we're talking about? It's like once you damage your brand identity, it's very hard to repair it. Very, very hard.
I couldn't tell you the last Marvel anything I've picked up. DC, I usually only pick up the Black Label stuff, or occasionally like they've got like the Sandman universe stuff. I'll pick up because it's usually darker stuff. But it's Boom Studios and Image across the board for the rest of my pull list.
Yeah. So brand recognition helps. The number one thing that helped, and this is just kind of the grim reality of it, this is like way more than anything else, was just the fact that Johnny Depp was interested in a Rex Mundi movie for a long time. He was a producer on it. Once that word got out, that was a huge boost to the comics. So, I mean,
I'm out of curiosity, how does that happen? Like, someone pitch it to him? Is he like an actual, just a ground level fan of the series? Like, I'm just curious.
Yeah. So what happens is we were at comic book conventions. We know Eric, the artist, lived in San Diego, so we would go to the San Diego Comic Book Convention. My understanding is that comics publishers are actually pulling out of comic book conventions, and they're I think last I heard that they're not even going to be at San Diego this year. But at any rate, back then, it may still be that way. There are lots of producers and people in Hollywood who are, sort of prowling around the convention floor. So the first year we were doing our thing with our Rex Mundi table, Barry Levine gave us our card. He gave us his card. And we just started talking with him. And Barry's a phenomenally energetic person. I have a lot of affection for him. And he did a lot of legwork. So sort of by hook or by crook, somehow working behind the scenes. I don't even know the amount of work that he put in. But he, I think, with some other producers, had a connection with Johnny Depp's production company. So I think that's how he got his hands on it. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So...
right on.
So that was that.
Well, I think we've got some stuff in here for people to mull their heads around. Where can I send people for your current project?
Yeah, thanks. We're going to be announcing our mailing list soon. It's kind of semi-officially up. Actually, I'll give you a link if you don't mind putting it up in the interview links.
You give me a link and it will absolutely go at the bottom of the screen when I put it up.
Great, thank you. There's that, and basically, I'm on Twitter. I'm not on Twitter as much as I am as I should be, but to the extent that I'm online, probably next month, once our mailing list goes live, I'll be much more active. But you can find me on Twitter. I am Arvid the Twit on Twitter. So that's how you
right
find me. At Arvid the Twit.
Right on. Well, I want to thank you so much for coming on, talking to my audience today, Arvid. We definitely crossed some things that I think need to be discussed for people. And some other things that just need to be drilled in until they can recite it in their sleep.
Yeah, amen. Thank you, Nicky. Again, appreciate what you do. I've seen the difference that marketing makes. It's important. Yeah.
Well, I hopefully more people figure out how they can do it.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.